Hello, everyone. This is a treat to have the opportunity to share more about provocative coaching, which was originally called provocative therapy. I'll say a bit more about the background later. I've just completed a bike tour in India, and it was, from my perspective, a particularly tough one. And I became very aware of how the organizers, particularly, and some of the competent riders used humor. And I think I have heard and realized over time that people in, what should we say, kind of tough situations, challenging situations, those people who handle those situations in a healthy way often use humor. It doesn't surprise me. And there was one day when there was a on the bike tour, there was a particularly strong head-on wind. I mean, especially strong. Um, and when we paused at the pit stop, where some of the organizers were there to check we're okay, and I jokingly said to one of the organizers who arranged everything, I said, could you arrange for the wind to be behind us now rather than in front? Because it's very tiring to have a head-on wind for as long as we did. And he said, you could turn around and go back. And I thought it was classic. Um, there's so much in that there's so much conveyed in humor like that it's very, very characteristic of people on the tour. You very rarely hear anybody complain about, if they've had an injury or they find it tough. They very rarely, if ever, complain about that. They don't get in at the end of the day and say, oh, that was a tough ride, or that was this. I mean, you might get some reference to bad roads. And I think that the humor that people engage with plays a big part of that. So when that organizer said that to me, he certainly wasn't going to rescue me. I mean, obviously he couldn't um, turn the wind around. Um, but he didn't say, well, try and keep your head down or maybe keep to the edges of the road. I think he he just added humor. And basically the message was get on and deal with it. And and that's so key. And I laughed in the moment. And that laughter also releases endorphins. The amusement is a very liberating state to have. It's a very freeing. It creates an ease. And in that context, well, in any context for that matter, ease is a very useful emotional state to have. It's usually the place with which we make the best decisions. And so that was there were many moments, one of my recent experiences of humor. And what we'll be exploring is how do you do this? Now, that's a good challenge. It's a big challenge. How do you use humor intentionally in a way that creates resourcefulness in other people? If you're using it for coaching or training, for example, I mean, we'll look at how you use it for yourself. And we'll also look at how you handle it yourself. That's probably the starting point is can you take provocative humor? Because if you can't take it, I don't really think you have the right to give it. So we're going to be exploring lots of dimensions of this, both in these pre-programmed videos and in the program itself, where you'll have a chance to practice and get feedback. And I'm looking forward to it very much.